Hey guys, Lincoln Shrike here, bringing you another race breakdown. This past weekend I was out at Payton Jordan, and arguably the race of the entire meet was the battle between steeple stars Allie Ostrander and Adva Cohen of Boise State and New Mexico respectively. Obviously Ostrander, two-time defending champion, and Cohen, new on the scene to Division I, ran 9:29 last year at Euros. So it was a highly anticipated battle, and it certainly lived up to the hype. Let's watch the last three laps go down here. So Cohen has the lead with her teammate Charlotte Prouse right there, and Ostrander on the outside. It was tough to really pinpoint a favorite coming in. Ostrander's had a spectacular spring, but Cohen, her PR being 9 seconds faster, it seemed to also give her reason to believe she would have an edge here. And as we approach the final kilometer, these two ladies kind of starting to separate from the pack. As you can see, one theme I want to point out throughout this race is Cohen right here. You can tell between her and her coach, the goal coming in, the big focus was to always hang on the rail because she occupies this inside lane running the shortest distance for almost the entire race. And in fact, a lot of times when Ostrander, who's out here, will try to get the advantage, Cohen will surge and try to regain that spot on the rail, really focusing on technique and not giving an inch in this really, really crucial battle ahead of NCAA. So we'll keep an eye on that as the next two and a half laps unfold. So as we'll see in a moment, these two kind of starting to separate themselves from the rest of this field. Now, this isn't at all a weak field. I mean, Charlotte Prouse is an All-American. Here is Alicia Konachek. She's run 9:40 in the steeple, and she's actually a Division II NCAA champion many, many times over. Eilish Flanagan behind her there from Adams State is also another good steepler. So these ladies behind aren't jokers. They're really good, but obviously Cohen and Ostrander are the two big names. And at this point, with 1 kilometer to go, is when they really start to shake the rest of the field. So we're going to have 2.5 to go, 1K to go. And they close really, really hard here after kind of going out conservatively. So our third to last water barrier, and one thing I want to point out, another thing that's going to kind of be a theme over these next couple laps, the difference in the quality of the exit of the water barriers for Ostrander and Cohen. Ostrander here, yes, she's in the pit, but you see she has this leg right here driving out. Meanwhile, Cohen, no doubt getting fatigued. Can't really see it. We have a guy in the way, but she's 2 feet in at this point. So that's going to cost her some precious milliseconds, and I'll also zap some of her energy here. So as we get going, as we run these next couple laps, something to watch because Ostrander is clean out of these pits and Cohen is not. So you see she loses a bit of the advantage, but then she kind of sprints and surges right back to the front to get in front of Ostrander. And we're coming up on 2 to go. Konachek kind of making one last final push to try to make this a 3-way battle, but it will be a 2-way race very, very shortly. And I want to highlight something, kind of a theme, another one. I've had like 3 or 4 at this one. Ostrander takes the lead right directly in front of a barrier. It's kind of to each their own, each technique that they want to employ. Cohen appears to kind of like to relinquish the lead, let somebody else tackle the barrier first, while Ostrander is more comfortable going over, but then Cohen will surge right back to the lead once she's over the barrier. Now, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'm not sure, because surging, you ultimately, that zaps some of the sprint you'll have at the end. But as we saw in this race, it was so many times over again, it would be Ostrander going to the front before the barrier, and then Cohen, as we'll see in a second, sprinting right past her to regain the lead. So let's watch that unfold here. She takes the lead, and then it's right back up front for Cohen. I really do think, and it's hard to pinpoint too many mistakes because this race was so close, but I think if she would have relaxed a little bit and let Ostrander do some more of the leading, she may have had a little bit more pop left in her legs to outkick Allie Ostrander. We're coming up on 600 meters to go. And we're going to run this all the way through to our next water pit. And just a reminder, Cohen, I mean, this is her steeplechase debut, or at least a 3,000 meter steeplechase debut at Division I. her last steeplechase at 3K steeple was a 9:29, which would have been one of the fastest times in NCAA history. So this was certainly highly anticipated here. And I want to give you another thing here. Once again, we have Cohen kind of going deep into the barrier or deep into the pit while Ostrander is moving out from the water jump. So just another thing where she's getting a slight edge here over Cohen. And look at this gap she builds here. But Cohen will quickly rally to make sure she's not losing any ground. If she's cleaner out of that pit, maybe she doesn't have to do that. So here we go. We're going to come up to a lap to go. And this is crucial here because we had Cohen smooth over that barrier, kind of her best barrier in some time. And we'll go back to that. Look how good she is over that one. Previously, she'd kind of stutter-stepped a little bit and had relinquished the lead, but she's perfect over this one. And we'll take that momentum into the last lap and give her a chance, a real good shot to win. So here we go, 1 to go. It kind of looks like Ostrander, after doing all that work to catch back into the lead, catching a little breather here. And we almost have an identical look from the previous lap as Cohen will slow down a little bit and putting Allie Ostrander right back into the race. Just kind of letting it run here. This is just a spectacular battle. You can't ask for anything more here. Obviously, we're dead even. We're dead even with about 2 to 250 meters left to run. Exactly what we anticipated. We knew these ladies were going to be right on par. Ostrander's been running spectacularly across multiple distances from 10K to 1500. Cohen, after a little bit of up and down so far in her New Mexico career, has really rebounded this outdoor season, coming off a 15:31 5K. So this is the battle we expected, and what a preview it served for NCAA's coming up later in June. But let's watch this final 200 unfold. Cohen has no trouble with the dry barriers, but let's watch what happens with this final water jump, how well Ostrander executes and how poorly Cohen does, and that makes the difference in the race. So you see her, Ostrander getting a slight edge here, and she's going to try to body, kind of box out Cohen here over this barrier so she can have the edge. Watch her do it. So here goes, she's on the outside, and then she jumps right in front of her here. Again, we have a 2-foot, basically Cohen's going swimming here while Ostrander's driving out of here. Another example of her gaining an advantage off the water pit. Cohen really having to work now to keep up. Ostrander's starting to move really, really well. And this is a good rally, though, by Cohen. And it looks like she's about to maybe go around. I mean, she looks poised. But the problem, again, continues for her to be the technique over the barrier. She's going to, when this next barrier comes up, she's going to stutter a little bit. And that allows Ostrander, who's smoother transitioning off the track over the barriers, to gain a little bit more of an edge. And, of course, after this, we just have a clean sprint to the finish line. So watch this unfold. So they look good here. But look at this gap that builds here. That wasn't there 3 meters ago. It's Cohen slowing down because she's not quite there with her timing on the steeple. Now, could just be that she's a little rusty. She hasn't run the event, at least the 3,000 meter event in quite some time, but she's given up too much ground as she prepares to go over the barriers, and that you can't do that to someone as skilled as two-time NCAA champ Allie Ostrander. So Cohen will once again rally. I mean, she's surging. She's putting everything into this, but you can't help but think if she wouldn't have given so many inches earlier throughout the barriers that maybe she would have had more room to win this. And another thing to point out, Ostrander here already leaning while we have Cohen kind of still in her sprint trying to rally. The advantage, of course, is Ostrander's because she's in the front position and she can start to lean a little bit towards the finish line. And that ends up being the difference in this race as we watch the next 3 meters unfold. Look at this difference in this lean. We have Cohen, who is just straight up here. Meanwhile, we have Allie Ostrander, who's basically at a 45-degree angle here, just completely leaned out. And that's the difference in the entire race. Now, a lot of that difference was also made previously on the mistakes Cohen made, but still, Allie Ostrander is technically sound all the way from start to finish over barriers, over the water jump, and even leaning at the line. Cohen has some of those things that she needs to fix going forward to NCAAs. So the time, it's not overly quick. Both ladies have run considerably faster, but it was certainly the duel that we expected, and it sets up a magnificent showdown coming up later in June. Now, these ladies may see each other at the prelim meet in Sacramento, but the big focus obviously will be the NCAA final as Ostrander goes for 3 straight, and of course Cohen looks to validate that 929 from last summer with an NCAA title in Austin. So there you have it from Payton Jordan. Stay tuned for more race breakdowns coming up this week.